Welcome to the Kingdom Corner. I'm Andrew, and with me for this AFC Championship game. Oh man, once again, seventh time in a row, the Kansas City Chiefs, the man who's been there from the beginning, who didn't doubt the 13-second game, who said from the beginning, three-peat is coming.
That's
My
right.
friend, Mr. Dale Baker. How we been,
Here,
my friend?
man, here we go. I mean, if you were a 90s kid or if you were alive in the 90s and you were a Chiefs fan, this is just surreal. You would never have thought this would happen. And we're so fortunate to have Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes and the rest of the team and just to continue to do what they do. And we're getting spoiled right now because we know we've been through the lean years,
Oh
man.
yeah.
We've been through it. And so we know. And so every time we're in it, it's just so great.
Oh man, it is fantastic. I mean, who would have thought that the Chiefs would ever be the team to make seven AFC championships in a row? Not me. I never
No,
would have thought that.
never.
I was hoping for one victory in there, and
Yeah.
hopefully one Super Bowl in my lifetime. That's the point where I was at. It's like just one in my lifetime, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And find out that didn't make me happy. So
We still
hey,
want more. We're still hungry.
still want more.
That's
Still
right.
more. Hey, we want to remind you right up front, make sure
Oh,
you like, subscribe,
yes.
follow us. Hey, those things help us more than you realize. And hey, make sure you comment. Comment. Hey, we will comment back even.
Yeah.
We want to talk to you, get to know you, and have those dialogues. There's some you agree with, disagree with. Let us know in the comments. We'll get back to you and do all those great things. So, but hey, today we're gonna be looking at this AFC Championship matchup against the Buffalo Bills. So this is the fourth time that the Chiefs and Bills have met in the Patrick Mahomes era in 5 years in the postseason.
Wow.
So a lot coming up. And so who really has the advantage in this game, if anyone, and who has more pressure in this game, the Chiefs or the Bills? So all that and more is coming up. So come hang out with us.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions.
All right, Dale. So I guess the first thing we have to talk about is this fourth matchup now in the postseason between the
Yeah.
Chiefs and the Bills. And so there's a lot to be said about that. So the Bills tend to have the Chiefs number in the regular season. I think they are 3-1 or 4-1 in the regular season against the Chiefs, but in the postseason, the Bills are 0-3. So the Chiefs have won
Mm,
all those
mm,
games.
mm,
And
mm,
so
mm.
coming into this game, the Chiefs have the number one seed. They got the potential for a three-peat in Super Bowls, which has never been done in the NFL history. But then you also have the flip side of the Buffalo Bills, who were the team that everybody's been riding on for most of the season, the AFC thinking that they
Yeah.
are the team to beat. So they come in as the number two seed. And they're coming in as a team who's never beaten Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs. And so there's a lot riding for both these teams. I mean, if one loses, what's it going to mean for the other one and their legacy? So,
Yeah.
but first off, who has more pressure in this game? Is it the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, I definitely think it's the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have the most pressure for them because everyone in the media is talking about them, how they should win. They have the better roster, whatever that means. I don't know. We have the better record, so I don't know how they have the better roster. But
Hey,
you know,
hey,
they have.
we say every year, you can be really good on paper, but
Yeah,
and I say every post or preseason, I always say they can look really good in the preseason. They can look really good on paper. I want
yeah.
to see how they actually play on the field.
Right. Yeah. And January's here. And so January is the biggest moments. And so let's see how these guys step up. Especially, I think, like the pressure comes not only, I mean, Josh Allen's going to play great. I think Josh Allen always plays really good in playoffs. I think he's had a couple duds his rookie season and maybe his second year. But other than that, he's always played really, really well in the playoffs. But I think it's the other team. So is the offensive line going to be able to hold up? They've been playing really good. Are they going to be able to hold up against the pass rush of the Chiefs? Are the wide receivers who are super young, are they going to be able to hold up in the highest pressure situations? You know, when we know that playoff football, I know it's a lot of conversation about the refs, but they let you get away with a little more hands, you know. And so we saw L'Jarius Sneed own Tyreek Hill on the line. And so our corners going to be physical with some of those rookies, young players that have not been in the AFC Championship? And they talk about the game moving so much faster in the playoffs, and I think it's just being at the right spot at the right time, right? And so,
Yeah.
are we going to be able to slow them down? And so, yeah, they got some good players, but I like the Chiefs shot here.
All right. Hey, I like it too. I agree with you. I think the pressure. Well, first off, let's be clear. There's pressure on both teams in
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
situation.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, no, not one team here is going in with just no pressure at all and just easy peasy kind of thing. But I do think the more pressure falls on the Buffalo Bills, who have never gotten over Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And so, I mean, if they lose this game, there's going to be a very real and very loud narrative for the Buffalo
Right.
Bills that says you can't beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. I mean, and you know that they're thinking about that. You know they're
Yeah.
talking about that, and so that is going to weigh on them for a long, long time. And even every postseason that they meet after this, if they lose this game, of can we even beat them? Because this is, I mean, first off, last year was the year to beat them, and
Yeah.
now you get this year, and you're once again can't beat them. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do if they ever reload on offense.
If we get a left tackle, imagine that.
Man, imagine that. Hey, some would argue that we got one in Joe Tooney.
Yeah. Well, I understand that, but hey, we need a real left tackle. I mean, I think Tony, we're missing Tony, especially I think in the run game. I know you disagree, but I think Tooney up there in the front three with Humphrey and Trey Smith, I think that was probably, you could argue, the best front three of the middle. And since those tackles were missing, so we can get a true. And what I've heard is that this draft is deep with offensive linemen. So hopefully we can get somebody to fill that role. And maybe Kingsley is the guy, right? Or, and
Maybe.
just another offseason for him to work and get better. And so, yeah, yeah. So,
Well, to be clear, I do not disagree that Tooney is much better inside.
yeah.
I just think that he, for our purposes this year, serves the team better
Yes.
at
Yeah. Yeah.
left
Yeah. Yeah.
tackle.
Yeah, yes, he
And that
does.
we'll have a guard who will fill in more adequately than we will a left tackle at this point. So, but here's some head-to-head matches between Mahomes and Josh Allen in the playoffs. So Mahomes is 3-0 against Josh Allen. So Mahomes averages 337 passing yards a game, Allen 343. So I mean, that's like 6 yards of difference there. Total
Yeah.
touchdowns, they both have 9. Giveaways, Mahomes has 0, Josh Allen has 1. And passer rating, Mahomes has an average of 126 and Josh Allen of 98, almost 99. So really, most of those stats, other than the passer rating, they're neck and neck in all of these stats, which
Right.
just shows you how much go into these games and how close these games really are. I read something the other day. I forget exactly what it was, but they've scored almost the exact same amount of points in these playoff games as
Yeah.
well. There's a slight difference because the Chiefs have won all of them, but even in those 3 games, they've
Yeah.
all been very close.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not going to be a cakewalk or a walk in the
No.
park by any means. You can't get to a championship game on either side and think it's just going to be an easy win for you.
No. So, and like last year, I mean, the Chiefs had the lead, 3 points. They were up by 3, and they can't. And the Bills did give them credit. They drove down, but their kicker missed it to tie the game to send it to overtime. So, luckily, we have Harrison Butker and for us, and we're for sure a sure kicker.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I would agree with that. We, in my opinion, have the best kicker in the NFL.
There you
I
go.
mean, Justin Tucker might have been that for a while, but he is not that anymore. This
No.
year, I don't know if he was injured or what, but he just took some steps back this year. So,
Yeah.
Harrison Butker, glad he's on our team.
Yes, definitely for sure.
All right. So the other thing is here's some just simple playoff stats between Mahomes and Josh Allen. So uh, this doesn't include just head to head. This is all their games. So Josh Allen is 7-5 in the postseason. He has 31 touchdowns with 6 turnovers, uh, with 0 Super Bowls, 0 Super Bowl MVPs, and 0 head-to-head wins against Patrick Mahomes. Just to throw
Yeah.
that in there for you. Patrick Mahomes, on the other hand, is 16-3, has never fallen
Man.
short of the AFC Championship game, also known as the Arrowhead Invitational.
Yep.
He has 47 total touchdowns in the postseason,
Man.
to 9 turnovers, 3 Super Bowl wins, and 3 Super Bowl MVPs, as well as the 3 wins um, against our favorite villain, Josh Allen. So So how do you feel? So we're talking about all these things, but all that to
Yeah,
say this, how do you feel when people compare Josh Allen to Patrick Mahomes? Because a lot of people would make the debate, even
yeah.
this season, that Patrick Mahomes is not as good as Josh Allen.
Right. And I do think Josh Allen is uber talented, right? He is really, really
Oh
good.
yeah, absolutely.
And I think probably a lot of it has to do with why he doesn't have as much success as coaching with Sean McDermott. And so I think that I mean the 13-second game. I mean that's a perfect example of how you could have won. They should have easily won that game, and we should not have been in position to kick a field goal and tie it. But yeah, I think also not only coaching, but I think it's he just doesn't. I mean, he does the his team doesn't show up for him in the thing. But what drives me nuts is if you're going to compare somebody, like you have to compare all the way through. And so you just rattled off all those statistics and his accomplishments in the postseason. Like Pat is heads above everybody else in his as his peers, right? Tom
Yeah,
Brady is the only one he's chasing. And so he is heads and shoulders above everyone. So you have to give because isn't the point of playing football to win championships?
you are correct, Dale. That you are
That
right.
I mean,
I
I
know
don't
that
know.
comes as a
Is it?
shocker to people, but it's true.
I think it was a Chiefs coach that said the point of the game is to win the game, right? To
Yeah,
win the game.
Herm Edwards said it,
Yes.
but not while he was with the Chiefs. He said it, I
Okay.
think, when he was with the Jets. But he says
Uh,
you play to
to
win the
win the
game.
game. Yeah. So you play to win the game. So you have to give him the nod. And I think a lot of this comparison is nonsense for me, just because I think it's so much a team game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so like yes, Mahomes is great, but it's not because just Mahomes. I mean, he has a bunch of great guys with him. And yes, Josh Allen's great. He just has a bunch of good guys around him as well. And so the better offensive line for sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and that's one of those things too that kind of drives me crazy a little bit. Is like with quarterbacks, their record is always attached to them as a
Yeah.
player. You know, every other position, you don't have your record that follows you. It's like, oh, are we going to sign this wide receiver this year? I mean, this guy went 3-11 last year or whatever,
Yeah.
his record was. And nobody does that. They're like, man, that
Right.
guy, he's on a bad team, but man, he was good. And you get a quarterback, like, oh man, that guy can't win games. It's
Right.
like, and I realize that a lot goes on the quarterback because he's the one who touches the ball every play. But you still have to have guys who can catch the ball. You
Right.
still have to have guys who can run the ball and block. You still have to have guys on the other side of the ball who can tackle, right? And not
Yeah.
give up big touchdowns. And so, like, even these head to head comparisons, even between Mahomes and Allen, as much as we want to, relish in the fact that Mahomes has never lost in the postseason to Josh Allen,
Yeah.
Mahomes and Allen are not on the field at the same time. They're playing against defenses. And
Right.
so there's a lot to be said about those stats and about how we even look at those stats.
Yeah. 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 But yeah, Mahomes definitely. I'm taking Mahomes over Allen in a playoff game. I think Mahomes he's so even keel when the pressure is the highest. It seems like he's
Yeah.
more in control than he is out of control. And so I feel like sometimes you watch other quarterbacks and you're like, oh, and then
Yeah.
you're like holding your breath, but it's like, oh no, like I mean, I know you and I have talked, and it seems like even Super Bowls when he gets the ball. I mean, when we got the ball, when the 49ers kicked a field goal and the Chiefs had the ball, they're like, well, we're going to score a touchdown and we're going to win. And that's, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen. I think the 49ers knew it was going to happen. So it surprised me they didn't go on fourth down. But it's just like, you just knew, like, he's going to score. And even with the 13 seconds, right? You just knew that we had the fastest guy in the world and we had Travis Kelce. And so,
I don't know if I knew, but you knew.
I was just like, hey, we got the fastest guy. Let's, if they play what they did, if they did what they did, and let a guy just catch the ball and he can make up yards quick, man. And I think a lot of also coaching. I mean, like you named all
Yeah.
the other things, but I think coaching has a huge part. The scheme and just doing what's right for your player. So yeah, Pat Mahomes all day. Not just because he's a chief, but because I think he is the best.
Yeah, I agree. And so, honestly, I know that I'm a little bit biased because Mahomes plays for the Chiefs. I
Yeah.
understand that. And I'll say this, Josh Allen is a much better runner. And when you just need a tough yard, Josh Allen's the guy I'd want because
Right. Right.
he's going to be that guy who's going to put his shoulder down. And he's a bigger guy, too. So he's going to be able to power through
Oh,
some of those defenders and get, 3 or 4 yards or whatever it is that they need because he is that big of a guy. I think he's like 6'5" and like 260 or something like that.
Gee whiz. He's a
I'm
defensive end.
I know you'd think so. Don't quote me on those numbers.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
I think it's close to that, but I did not look it up. But it's somewhere
Yeah.
close to that. So, but yeah, he is a big guy, and you're right. That is the size of a defensive end. Coming around the corner. So he's not a small guy, and that's why it's harder to bring him down too. So, but with all that said, I will take Mahomes because, especially in the postseason, because Mahomes just comes alive in the postseason. So, in the postseason, all-time passer rating in the postseason. With a minimum of 200 pass attempts for quarterbacks, Mahomes has the number 1 passer rating in the NFL history in the postseason for any quarterback. You know who number 2 is? Bart Starr.
Bart Starr. Wow.
Yeah. Followed by Matthew Stafford, Kurt Warner, and then Josh Allen is actually 5th on that list. So, so he's still up there too, even if Mahomes is slightly ahead of him in that category.
And one more thing on Allen before. I mean, like the dude is so good. I mean, if you remember his rookie year and him playing in the playoffs, he was terrible. Yeah. Even his first couple seasons, he was not accurate. He had a cannon of arm, but credit to him to like really work on his craft and like to be where he's at. I mean, he has worked tremendously hard.
Absolutely.
And so, I had nothing but respect for the Buffalo Bills and that organization. It seems like they do it right. It seems like they got a good owner. You never hear about him in the media, and then their GM is super smart. And so, I think I don't think this will be the last time the Chiefs and the Bills play in the playoffs. So
I think you are correct. This is going to be something going on for a long time. 2 world-class organizations here.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen's rookie season, a lot of people are saying he was a bust even.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
To your point, hey.
Even a guy on this podcast said he was going to have 7 wins. And
that's right. And it wasn't on my side of the screen. I know that.
Oh, man. Well, I know. I was wrong.
Yeah.
So
I'll say this, though. So at this far in the postseason, no team that's left in the postseason has had a turnover.
Wow.
And so teams are taking care of the ball, and that's really what you have to do to win in the postseason, especially against the Chiefs. That's how they played most of the year. They didn't start out that way, but since week, I think 11 or maybe not 11.
No, I think you're right. Since week 11.
Yeah. So
because we played the Bills, I think week 10, and we had 2 interceptions. Pat had 2 interceptions. And after that, it's a wrap.
Yeah. So I mean, 2 interceptions or 2 turnovers total in that time. So it's incredible. And now the Chiefs here's the thing about it too. The Chiefs seem to force everybody to play their game.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy? Like you can get a team with a high flying offense and they're going to put up 20 points, maybe 14 points in a game against the Chiefs. When they're averaging 35 points a game, or you get a team that's, a defensive team that, just wants to slow the game down. And all of a sudden the Chiefs are moving down the field like they want to, it's just whatever team they play, the Chiefs are forcing other teams to play their game.
Yep.
And here's the scary part about that is this is the way that the Buffalo Bills have been playing this postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And even leading up to the postseason, they have started playing more the Chiefs style of game because Josh Allen, as much as and as good as he is, he wants to push the ball down the field. He wants to put the cape on and be the superhero. He wants to be the guy that wins the game for you. He wants to do the spectacular and wow you with whatever's going on. And I'm not saying he's doing it for a prideful thing. He's just that good that he can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he wants to do that. And this postseason and even maybe a few games leading up to it, he hasn't been doing that. Yeah. He's just been taking whatever the defense gives him, and playing a Chiefs style of game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know how that's going to bode for the Chiefs and Bills matching up because they both play that same kind of style. I think it's going to make a very exciting and interesting game. I mean, it's going to make it very, very fun to watch, if nothing else.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the game. I mean, that's why it's at 5:30, right? Eastern, I think 5:30 Eastern. It's
5:30 our time.
Yeah, 5:30 our time, and so that's why it's the prime time. We got, which I love Tony Romo way more than anybody else, and so I listen to Tony Romo and Jim Nantz all day over anybody else that is a broadcaster. But let me
wait, no, pause here. Are you being serious about this?
What do
Do
you mean?
you
Oh,
really? I can't tell if you're joking or if you're being. Do you really love Tony Romo and Jim Nance?
they're the best.
Okay, well, you and I have
Okay,
very
okay.
differing opinions on this
Well, tell me this:
because
would you take Joe Buck and Troy Aikman?
I don't want either one of those teams. You know,
I'm just
honestly,
saying, just give me Romo and Nance.
hey, I'll take Greg Olson's who I want. I want
Oh,
his.
okay. Well, he's an NFC guy.
I know,
He's
but
Fox.
I know, but I'm just saying he is one of those
Oh
guys
yeah, yeah. He
that
is the best. They should not have kicked Tom. They should not have kicked him out of the main booth. He is better than Tom Brady
yeah,
right now.
and I
Right
will
now.
say as
I'm not
much as
saying
I
Tom can't get better, but I'm saying right now,
well,
Greg
and I'll
Olson
tell
is
you
way
this too, as
better.
much as I don't want to admit it, I've started to enjoy listening to Tom Brady a little more as the season's gone on.
Yeah,
He has improved and getting
yeah,
better, and
yeah.
it's
He's calling the Super Bowl, bud. So you better be ready for him.
hey, there you go. So,
Yeah,
but I'm not forgetting Tony Romo because you can listen to Tony Romo as he calls these games for the
yeah.
Chiefs, and he very much does not cheer for the Chiefs. I mean,
Oh
and
no, yeah,
it's not even something he's trying to hide. It seems like you just
yeah.
watch how he calls his games and how he talks about each team,
All
and he's
right.
going to talk about both because he has to. It's his job. But you just watch even his tone and everything else. And I'll say this: my wife Jill, who uh, is becoming a Chiefs fan.
There you
I mean,
go. All
let
right.
me say it. She is a Chiefs fan. She's becoming more of a fan
There you go.
as the years go on. Who casually watches the games with me, but really it's sometimes distracted by other things. But she's even noted this year and said, "Is that is that Tony Romo?" We were watching a different game. I forget which game it
Yeah.
was, and she's like, "That's Tony Romo commenting this game, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "I cannot stand that guy," because she said the same thing. Like that guy doesn't like the Chiefs, does he?
I
Because
love Tony Romo.
all right, well,
So do you think so to talk about that? I mean, I think there's this real thing where like it happened a lot faster than I think with the Patriots, where there's this Chiefs fatigue in the media and with people like, okay, we know the Chiefs are good. Let's let someone else win. And so I think like and the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, especially in this era. I mean, back in the day, you could get away with not being plugged in and not hearing the noise. But with your phone in your pocket, you hear the noise and clips and things like that. You hear all the noise and people just
yeah,
talking
that's
about it.
true.
And so I just think like I think it's going to be fuel for the Chiefs. That like, hey, we're the villains, and no one wants us to win. Let's go out there and let's win it. Let's win it all. And so I think I think they
Yeah,
want to win. Uh, at most, they don't care what everyone's saying, but yeah, it's wild how people have turned on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's so fast, uh,
yes,
and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So keep the hate coming. Keep the hate coming.
you welcome it, huh?
Yeah, I do welcome it. It just fuels.
Hey,
It's like, hey, that's great.
I'll tell you this: if the hate means that we're winning Super Bowls, I'll take it all day long.
Oh yeah,
So hey,
yeah,
I'm all for whatever it means for the Chiefs to win Super Bowls.
right. Yes,
So,
definitely.
all right, well, we'll see what happens this Sunday. So, what do the Chiefs need to do in this game to be able to pull off the victory against the Buffalo Bills?
All right, I'll go offense and then defense. Okay.
All right.
So first, the offense is the offensive line. I'm not worried about Travis Kelce. I'm not worried about the wide receivers. I'm worried about the offensive line. They got to give him Mahomes time, or they got to give him holes to get escape. So I just think like the offensive line is going to be the biggest thing for me to watch if the Chiefs can. If the offensive line can hold, I'm not, and like you said, and I agree with you, they don't have to be elite. They just have to be. They just have to give them enough, and I think Andy Reid will give enough schemes, and he's been watching, and so I think we know Tooney's the left tackle for the remaining of this run. I don't think they'll put in Humphreys, and then the defense. I think the defense just has to minimize the big plays. So that's keeping Josh Allen in the pocket. I think you make him beat him with your arm, and if he does, which he is a good thrower, I'll give him that. But I think our corners are pretty good and those young guys. I think if we can keep Allen in the pocket and minimize the big plays, I think we got a good shot.
Yeah, and to your point, the
Yeah.
corners with Jalen Watson coming back
Coming
last
back.
week
Yeah.
was his first game, and
Yeah.
so that's like a game to even just knock the rest off. So he
Right.
didn't play as good as he had leading up to that point of the season, or where he was previous to his injury. But
Yeah.
you have to expect that he's going to take at least a little bit of a step forward now that he's got a game under his belt from coming back from that injury. So I think he's going to step up a little bit more, and with Trent McDuffie too, it's going to be
Yeah.
fun because Jalen Watson was out the last matchup against the Bills, as well as uh, Hollywood Brown was not there,
Yeah.
and
A mini
Charles
you.
Minihue
Yeah.
was not playing at that point yet because of his injury. And so there's a lot of key players on our team that were not there for
Yeah.
our regular season matchup against the Bills. And so I think some of those players are going to make a big difference. And so I agree with you. As far as the offensive goes, the Chiefs, I'm not worried about the wide receivers. I'm not worried about Travis Kelce. I think they're going to figure it out
Yeah.
and click and do whatever they need to do to win. I think Hollywood Brown might have a big game, right? So,
Come on.
because I think the Bills, I think, are going to try to stop Travis Kelce. They
Yep.
saw what he did in the first round, like nobody else can catch a ball. And so they're going to try to do him. I think Xavier Worthy's prime for a big
Yeah.
game. I think DeAndre Hopkins gets a little bit involved and Noah Gray. So, I mean, all these other guys are going to get a little bit more involved, I think, in this game just because of the attention that Travis Kelsey's
Yep.
gonna bring. But I'll say this too: Travis Kelsey's still going to get him some yards.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're not going to stop playoff Kelsey. I can tell you
No.
that. So I'm
And
not
he
saying
always shows up. He always shows up against the Bills.
yeah,
And
and I'm not
so
saying he's going to get over 100 yards, but he's going to get his catches. So
yeah.
So for the offense, I think you're right. I think the offensive line is the big question mark there.
Uh-huh.
Not just for protecting Mahomes, but even generating some holes for our
Right.
running back. So
Yeah.
if we are stopped to be one-dimensional and can only throw the ball, I still like our chances even with that, honestly. But
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I like our chances a lot more if we can be more balanced and keep the defense guessing.
Yeah.
And so the offensive line's got to open up some holes. And I guess flip side too is the running backs have got to get something going. I mean, they
Yeah.
can't go down the first hit. So, and we had that conversation before about between
Well,
Kareem Hunt and Isaiah
Yeah.
Pacheco.
Let's start Kareem Hunt then if you don't want him to go down after the first hit.
Well, that's true. Hey, I'm all for Kareem Hunt starting, but if you
Yeah.
want to ride the hot hand, just see what running back is doing better
Yeah.
against that team, I'm all for that too. But
Right.
they got to do something to get that running game going because it's not where it was or where we thought it would be when Isaiah Pacheco came back, having both him
Right.
and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's the older back with more mileage, and yet he seems to be the one who's running better right now. So,
Yeah, I
all
think
that's
what you're saying is like, hey, we don't want to be one dimensional, right?
yes,
We need to
yes.
be two dimensional. We can't let Von Miller just pin his ears back on Mahomes, right? Von Miller, older player, but he was a Super Bowl MVP for a reason because he shows up in big moments, and so yeah, definitely we can't be one dimensional. I think that does not help us in our favor, and I would say this defensive line is worse than the Texans.
All right, I would
That's a
say
question.
so.
That's a
Because
question. Okay.
okay, okay. Well, at first thought you were saying it, then I'm like, wait a second. It's just yeah.
Yeah.
He as far as well, not he, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think the Texans are much better of a defensive line than the Buffalo Bills. I
Uh-huh.
mean, the Texans have two elite, and I do mean that elite edge rushers. Chiefs were able to slow them down at least, and so I feel good about our offensive line. I'm like we said before, I don't think they have to be elite. They just have to be
Yeah.
um, good enough to slow them down to give them enough time to do whatever they need to do. So
And I mean the Ravens did not have any trouble moving the ball
no,
against
they didn't.
they did not.
Especially there
So
in the second half, they were just
yeah,
doing whatever they wanted to do.
right. So
And
I
part of
think
their game too is they got the running game going in the second half. The Ravens did, and so
yeah.
it opened up a lot more for the passing game too. And so
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
imagine
You can't be one dimensional.
right. Imagine that. You got Derrick Henry. Are you gonna
Yeah,
run him?
I know.
Come on,
Crazy.
Ravens. Come on.
Hey, I honestly can't understand why they didn't run him more in that game.
That's why you got him.
Still, that's exactly why you got him. And every game the Ravens have lost, they've abandoned the run. It makes zero sense. Zero.
Until the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left, do you abandon the run?
Yeah, and at that point, you better be down by 2 scores.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
if there's 5 minutes left, you're
used
only
to-
down
yeah.
by 1. You don't abandon the run with Derrick
No.
Henry. So
No,
you got to be
yeah.
down by multiple scores with 5 minutes left in the fourth to abandon that run. So yeah, I agree with that. So the flip side on the defense, I think the defense for the Chiefs, they have to contain Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Because Josh Allen is one of those guys who he will escape if you give him the avenue to.
Right.
And your little cornerbacks, they can bring you down, but they're not going to push him backwards.
No.
He's going to run over you as he gets extra yardage on your cornerback. So I think they got to be able to contain Josh Allen while creating pressure against him. So I think that's the key for our defense here. So, all right, all that
Whew.
to say one more thing here.
All right.
Excuse
Give
me.
it to me. You're fine.
All right, so uh, oh, sorry. Uh, so they talked about between this last game with the Chiefs about Patrick Mahomes, flopping and doing all these things,
Oh, Lord.
and I'm just gonna say Josh Allen is the flop king. He is the LeBron James of the NFL. So, but and
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that people are saying that
Yeah. It's
the
not,
Chiefs are getting all the calls, and we briefly talked about that last week too. But I want to give you a few stats that I read the other day. So for roughing the passer calls
okay.
this year, so this year Patrick Mahomes has got uh, roughing the passer call on 63% of his uh, per 100 attempts. So,
Okay.
I'm sorry, not 63, 0.63.
Okay. I was going to say, that's pretty
63 would be
high.
high. Sorry.
My.
I know. 0.63. There we go.
0.63. There you go.
That
There you
is
go.
important, that point. So,
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is next with, 0.71
Okay.
percent. Baker Mayfield's after that, 0.73. Kirk Cousins after that, 0.74. Deshaun Watson, 0.78. Jared Goff, 0.71. And the person with the most, Josh Allen, 0.93 per 100 pass attempts.
Wow.
And so the person who gets the most roughing the passer calls and, if you want to put it this way, bailouts is Josh Allen. And so that is something to keep in mind, that Josh Allen gets a lot of those roughing the passer calls. It could be because he's a bigger guy and holds on the ball
Yeah.
later because he can just take the hits better. But it just goes again, you got to contain Josh Allen and do it smartly too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Smartly. And he's great at extending plays. He's really he just pedals backwards, pedals backwards, pedals backwards. And so I think like it's not 5 seconds. It could be 8 seconds, And so I think, yeah, just
yeah,
holding your defending, which is super hard to do in the NFL, is to hold your defender. So
it is. All right, so Sunday night game, 5:30 p.m. AFC Championship game for the right to win the Lamar Hunt Trophy and go to the Super Bowl for Super Bowl 59. Chiefs versus Bills, Arrowhead Stadium. I got Chiefs 27, Bills 24.
man, that's close.
I just think it's going to be another close playoff game.
Which is crazy is that the line opened up at like 1.5 and it hasn't moved, which is odd because usually it moves when people start betting. And so when people aren't betting, it's not heavy on the Buffalo Bills because then that line would move down. And so, yeah, I'm going Chiefs. They're going to score 31.
31. All right.
31-24.
All right. I like that score better. So,
Yeah, I think I think they're going to show out. I mean, it's been a conversation. Hey, we haven't had. I think that a defensive. I know 2 linebackers are questionable. I know a safety's questionable for the Buffalo Bills, and so like if they're banged up, and I think we're the more healthy team, which I think plays a huge factor. And so, guys that have played all year are not going to be there. So we'll see.
yep. All right. We'll find out. So, the amount of bets that have been placed on this game so far, 63% of bets have been placed on the Buffalo Bills in this game.
Okay.
So not a crazy amount number, but still the majority are going with the Bills so far in this game and at that 1.5. So let's get to our betting props so far in the season, including the postseason. Dale is 20-25, and I am 19-26. So
That's right.
One game behind here. So hoping to make up some ground here this week. So.
Yeah.
Betting lines, Chiefs by 1.5 points. I'm going to take the Chiefs in this. I'm going to assume by your score, you're taking the Chiefs as well.
Oh, yeah. Give me the Chiefs.
All right, Mahomes passing yards 249.5.
Over.
All right, I'm going to take the under because he keeps tending to go under on all these things, and I have to find something to catch.
And you got
up.
to catch up. You got to catch up to me. Come on.
That's right. So Josh Allen 230.5.
230. Yeah, he's going over. I think he probably like averages like 300 this year, right? Probably something like that crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on that one as well.
Yeah.
Kelsey 67.5 receiving yards. I think that's a close one because they're going to be
Yeah.
covering him a lot. But
Yeah.
because we're going to need him so much, I think he's going to go over that.
All right. I'm going under.
All right. Josh Allen rushing yards, 47 and a half.
Man, if he has more, this is like hard because you think you're playing out the game. You're like, man, if he has more than 47, we're in trouble. So yeah, give me the under. Give me the under on that.
All right. I'm gonna take the I go back
I know
and
this is
forth
why
on this one too.
this is why I don't gamble is because I bet with my heart.
Yeah. I want him
So
to go the under, but I kind of
yeah.
think he's going to go the over. I'm going to go the over just to be opposite of you anyways and try to regain some lead on you.
All right.
So James Cook, 55 and a half for rushing yards. Based on how the Chiefs defense have been playing last few weeks, I'm going to go the over on that one.
Yeah, I'll take the under.
The under, all right.
Yeah, I'll take the under.
All right, Kareem Hunt, last one here,
Ooh.
35 and a half rushing yards. So, and keep in mind, he's not necessarily expected to start again. And so,
yeah,
we're talking about the backup guy, but the guy who seems to have the hot hand.
Yeah, give me the under.
All right. I'm going to take the over, actually. So,
all right. There you go. Good.
Take a lot of opposites of you trying to,
Yeah.
pass you in something here if I can.
Well,
but I also think that Kareem Hunt, if he can get one or two big runs like he did last week, he'll hit that mark. So
there you go.
We'll just have to wait and see. So, all right, lots to look forward to in this AFC Championship matchup game, the Chiefs versus Bills. Man, we're excited. We're hoping to see you next time as we are hopefully recapping a Chiefs victory.
Oh man!
Come on, moving on to the three-peat. So. Thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner. This episode is brought to you by Oh Hey Threads, where a portion of every purchase goes to support missions all over the world, one super soft tee at a time. You can get your own super soft tee or hoodie, even your very own Chiefs one.
Yes.
You can find it there at ohheythreads.com. We'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.